When you take all of these figures again, our modern day calendar, the Gregorian calendar, comes from these figures. Because King David left this, 1053 BC for his birth, and 7 BC for Jesus Christ's birth. And then these other figures again come from right in here, right in the scriptures, that King David left. And the 73340. This is 33 AD when Jesus was crucified, and he lived 40 years. It's 40 years this way, and 40 years on there. And so he lived to 73 AD. How do we know that's true? How did he live to be 80 years old? Because we were always told all our lives that he only lived 40 days after the crucifixion. And that's a good question. It's a question that everyone wants to know. When you take your Bible again, in Acts 25:19, there's a story in there about St. Paul. And St. Paul is in court, and he's going to get his head cut off in Jerusalem. And then he tells the judge and everybody else that Jesus Christ is alive. And this can be dated in 61 AD. Again, if you take the Bible, the Tyndale version of the Bible was written by William Tyndale, and he was executed by the Vatican when he wrote this Bible. But he leaves another date in his Bible that isn't in the Jerusalem Bible that I always use. This is a Roman Catholic Jerusalem Bible. And he tells in, I think it's 2 Peter 14, that he just talked to Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ says, your days on earth are numbered. And that's pretty well how it's written. You can check that out on the internet. And so we know from this code and from history books that St. Peter was executed upside down on Vatican Hill in 66.6 AD. That means June of 66 AD, and when you check out the Vatican, they always celebrate his death in June of 66 AD. They don't like you to know this one. They'll say it's 64 AD or 67 AD, but they don't want you to see that number 666. Now, the number 666, if you take Jerusalem or Bethlehem and you add the longitude and latitudes together where Christ was crucified, you're going to come up with the same figure, 66.6 AD. Now, when you go off the coast of roughly, this is Egypt down here, and you go out here just south of Cyprus, you're going to come up with a figure again of 33.3 latitude and 33.3 longitude. And you end up with a cross, and Cyprus Island is up here, and it's just right around Cyprus Island. So the very basis of the whole second Christ code is really based on this stuff. And that's it. But it's all based on this old triangular number 153. And then you just work the figures from there, and everything comes up. All of these figures match, and all of these figures don't mean nothing to anyone unless this guy's born here, 7/10/1953, around 51 latitude and 105.3 longitude. When that guy's born, then all of this stuff is true history. And this is what the Vatican and this is what all the churches have feared, is you learning this code. Because this code also shows you beyond a shadow of a doubt that the reign of the first Christ ends on July 10th, 2000 AD. And that's what they're hiding from you. 10 years ago, Christianity ended. And you're now in the 10th year of the reign of the second Christ. So the second Christ actually takes over when he's 47 years old. And so we'll look at that in another episode. Thank you.